You join me again. Last video, if you haven't already seen it, I suggest you do because it's going to help. Of how to set up a Minecraft Bukkit server with permissions. And this tutorial is going to be how to set up a plugin called Essentials. I use this on my server. It really helps as it deals with the basic stuff that probably won't be using as to make the server fun, but it really helps with administration. So first thing I'm going to do is go to Google. I use Google Chrome, it's quicker, but my internet connection is naff because I'm running this bad boy of a server. So you want to go to Bukkit, spelled right preferably, with double K, and Bukkit forums. I'm going to get plugins, and then you want to find Essentials. It should be here. Essential, a collection of useful commands. Then you want to go to the core download. This is the opening. There we go. These are the only ones that I actually use because the other ones, the extras, I'm not entirely sure what's in the extras. Hang on a minute, I'll find out. The extras, yeah, they're not necessary. I don't use them at all. All they really do is clog up space, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know what they do, but that's because I don't use them. So what we want to do is, like before with the permissions, you want to go to plugins and drag these into here, and then you want to hit the start. That loads up everything, all the extractable jars. Obviously you might get a few things that wouldn't usually be here, like warnings. That's just it setting up. So if you go to stop and then continue, and then we have the plugins, and here we should have the Essentials. So you want to go to Essentials. This is where you set the whole thing up. Alright, warps is like teleports within game. You can set them up. They're really helpful if someone in your server builds a house far away and they get lost or can't find it all the time. You set a warp back to spawn or something. The main config, we'll go into that in a second. Essentials protect. That's like when someone drops. When someone places a chest, dispenser, a sign, anything like that, automatically gets protected. The items. This is for the Essentials eco. The data values. Don't know what it is. Sorry. The worth. That's what they believe at Essentials that each of the items should be worth when you're setting up a store. We'll go into that in more detail in a minute, but first we'll go into the main config. Right. At the moment, this is the main part of Essentials. If you've used the last video and used permissions, don't worry about this because you're not using ops, so that's not really necessary. The main part. This is just how to change the colouring of it and display of text. Teleport cooldown. That's if someone is just constantly teleporting. It cools it down. Like they have to have a 10-second wait before they can go somewhere else. Not really sure why you'd need to do that, so I usually set it to 0. The same as teleport delay. Don't know why you'd want to stop someone from getting one there. If you set up the heal temps, as it says here, most of this is quite self-explanatory, as Essentials have been quite clever and put a note above it each, but some of it can be a little bit difficult to understand. So this is if you set the heal temps, which I don't because it's survival, how they can't constantly keep doing it if they're in a fight. This is what if you're doing a blacklist, what they can't give, but as I've said before, mine's a survival, so I'm not going to go into this. But if you wanted to stop someone from, I don't know, giving themselves, what's TNT? TNT is 46, I think, as it says here. So you just type 46, and then it would stop people from giving them 46. This is. Oh, sorry. Set this to true if you want permissions to base item spawn rules. Ignore permissions. Okay, yeah, leave that as it is. That works perfectly with permissions, so don't worry about that. Mob spawn limit. That's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go into ones like this. I'm only going over ones which are slightly harder in the config, and then the bits that you wouldn't usually know how to do, like the signs, but that'll be in probably another tutorial. Over in commands, you can't give yourself God. That's enabled. This is if you're not running essentials. Permissions. What the default player would be able to get. So, as I am going to quickly just copy this into the. These are permission nodes. What I was speaking about the last one, it allows people to use these. So I'm going to go into the permissions EX permissions and copy the permission nodes from here into here. That allows them to use these certain parts of spacings. They allow these certain parts of essentials. Most of this is to do with the eco, the chat plugins that are available. Clear inventory is clears inventory. The depth and the compass of where you are in the game. Delete home if you set home. Get position where you are. Not really sure what that one is. Sorry. Help, it allows you to access the help commands, so it tells you what all the other commands are. Help OP asks for a request of an OP. Home, set home. Warp home to others. Not sure what that is. I'm sorry. Info. Item ID allows you to have access to kits if you specify kit, but I don't. I just give the player a starting tools, but that was in another plugin, so I'm not sure that will be used, but you can find loads of plugins. It's like starter items or starter kits or something. The list of current players in the server. The mail, send mail. Allows you to say something as yourself. So if you type me / me in something, it will come up with your name and then whatever you typed. It allows you to access message color, nicknames, find out who's near, pay a person in game a certain amount of money. Power tool commands, I'm not entirely sure what they do, sorry. Protect allows you to protect something. Find out what the rules are of the game. If you do a nickname, find out what the real name is of someone. Sell an item. Set a home. These are the signs available. You can set item, set a protection, set up a trade, break a trade if you create it. Use the sign balance. Use the sign buy. Use the sign disposal. Use the sign free, use the sign heal, use the sign mail, use the sign protection again, use the sign sell, use sign time, use sign trade, use sign warp, use sign weather, use spawns. So that means you can slash spawn. That allows you to commit suicide, allows you to time, but I don't want to play to do this, so I'm gonna make sure that the default people can't set time. TPA allows you to send a request to someone to teleport. Let's accept and deny. Allows you to warp. Allows you to warp list world. What worth is, what you have in your worth is where you have a certain amount of items, and you can click worth, and it tells you the amount of in the essentials eco how much that you get if you sold them. And save. And then you want to go to essentials and then go to the main config. Right, okay, sorry, I just thought I'd set up the permissions whilst you're here so you don't get confused about that. These are the kits that I was on about, but I'm not going to do that, but that's already set up. You can specify a kit, the name, how long it takes for you to get it. Once again, I'm not sure why you do that. The items that you get once you enable that kit. So I don't know what the data values are by heart, but I think the 270s are wood something, but I'm not entirely sure. This allows you a quick way, I suppose, to be able to give a kit to someone as a starter item. This is the ones that you want to enable. You want to get rid of the hash symbols, which makes it a note, and allow it just so it has the dash, which allows it to work. This is something that most people get confused with, and personally I first did, when I did this and realised what didn't work. You need to get rid of those note symbols. Backup runs commands, so you can set up so it does a backup every, I take it that's minutes, so 30 minutes. Auto AFK after a certain amount of minutes, so AFK is where someone's not at their computer or not playing, it sets auto AFK, and you can set it so it freezes a player, which gives them temporary gold mode. The problem with that is that when someone comes back, they have to use the command AFK to get back out of AFK mode. If they don't, they can't move. So that causes problems with new players who not entirely sure how it works. So I keep that off. Item pick up was AFK. Someone drops something, they can't pick it up. This is the home commands. Allows you to set a player to spawn when no home is used. So I use this so if someone dies, they have a home, they go back to spawn instead. Allow people to set beds even at day. It means they don't go to sleep, but it means that when they die, they go to their bed because it's been set. Specifies the amount of players' homes that people can have, but most people only set one home, so that's not really necessary. The eco. Right, starting balance. The amount of money that you want your player to start out with. In mine, it's 100. This can be set to anything. It all depends on how much you set signs to cost. So, it doesn't make a difference. Just an example of how much it would cost for you to use a particular command. You can set them. The currency symbol. Obviously, as you can tell by my brilliant English accent, I am British, so I would prefer it to be in pound coins. But sometimes this mucks up the game, so annoyingly we have to use the American currency.